first things first, we're going to get our pocket pieces and we're going to place them right sides together, and we're going to stitch all the way around the outside, leaving a tiny little gap so that we can pull it inside out. We're going to do the same thing with the pocket bows. So right sides together, stitch all the way around the outside, but leaving a tiny gap to pull it inside out. So I've just pulled one of my pockets inside out, and now I'm just using one of my knitting needles to sort of push those sharper corners out, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the little bows as well. I'm just going to flip inside out, and then gently pop the corners out. So next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to top stitch all the way around the outside of the bows. For the pocket, you don't need to top stitch it because we'll be popping that on the edges soon and then top stitching around it. So don't worry about them for now. Let's just get these ones top stitched. Now I'm using quite a lightweight fabric because I just love the print so much, but it's not ideal for this kind of thing, so I'm checking some interfacing on the back just to give it a little bit more thickness. This is sew-on interfacing, so I'm just going to run a safety stitch around the outside to keep it in place, but you could use iron-on interfacing alternatively, which is a little bit easier than sew-on interfacing, but this is all they had at my store. Alternatively, you can use something like a cotton canvas, which is already thick enough to sort of hold its shape. So that's what I'm going to do now. this next part I'm just going to be attaching the zip. So how I'm going to do this is I am going to be placing the zip that way down, the teeth facing inwards and the edge of the zip in line with the raw edge of the fabric. And we're just going to do what I like to call a bus stop, and it's basically a way of stopping to make sure that you've done all of the things that are required up until this point. So first things first, we've got the end of our bag with our pockets attached, making sure that there is a gap in the pocket so that we can actually put stuff in it. Next up, we've got our bag, our outer bag, and we've got all of our straps stitched in place, and then of course we have got our zip all inserted as well. So if you can tick off all of those, you are tracking well, and we're going to keep going. Okay, so we're getting super close to finishing now. I just finished adding some zipper ends there to stop the zip from going any further, and now we're going to be adding these bad boys to the ends of the bag. So how we're going to do this is we're going to flip the bag inside out, and we're wanting right sides to face each other. So I've got my pocket side, which I know is my right side, and I'm just going to find the middle of that, which will be in line with my pocket knot. So I'm going to pop that pocket knot in line with the top of the zip, which is in the middle of my bag. And then I'm going to find the other middle part just by folding it in line with that top, and then placing that down as well. And now I'm going to pin all the way around that edge. Yeah, it might take a little while. If you've ever made a bucket hat, it's a similar kind of concept to when you're adding the top to the brims. So I'm going to do all of that now, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So I've just finished pinning all the way around, so yours should look something like this. Now I'm going to stitch all the way around there, and then I'm going to overlock to finish it off. Or if you want to, you can actually add bias binding around the outside. I'm sadly out, and if you live in New Zealand you'll know that there is currently a cyclone rolling through, so I'm not about to dash off to the craft shop to get some binding. So today it'll just have to be the overlocker. Okay, so I actually remembered I had this stash of pink binding from a while ago, so I'm going to opt for binding the inside instead, because something tells me that the overlocker's not going to like the thickness of this, particularly the zipper edge. So I'm glad I found some, or I could have made some out of some other fabric. Unfortunately I didn't have any of this left, but I don't know. Sometimes pre-made binding is just so easy. I know that it doesn't match your projects, but quite often I actually like using it because I love having a contrasting binding myself, but that is totally personal preference. Okay, so I've just trimmed the edges there a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach it just like normal binding. So I'm opening it up, popping the edge in line with the bottom there. Just pin a few and then I'll show you what I've done. So I'm just pinning that edge in line with the edge of my bag, and then I'm going to stitch all the way around. Now what I'm doing is I've got my binding and I'm just flipping it over the top and then pinning on that side there. Okay, she is all done. Now I'm just going to pull her back the right way around and see how she looks. I love her. Gosh, gotta snip a few threads here and there, but wow. Oh my gosh. She is cute as. Details. so cute. I am super wrapped. And look how cute those pockets are on the end as well.